I don't know if you're familiar with the directed energy conspiracy that has pretty much infiltrated the flat Earth movement. It is entirely opposite to the flat Earth movement, though, and I'm going to prove that right now. So this is his Steam page. This guy, he believes it. I'm not calling him a shill. I'm just saying that what we need to do is be reasonable and logical. We need to remember that these guys are pretty much idiots, you know. So what is the most likely possibility here? Space, or, we're not going to call them space lasers. We're going to call them plane lasers. But still, these planes fly by as slow as they can and shoot. It's possible. It's totally possible. However, wouldn't it be a lot easier for somebody to drive their car up here and dump some gas on this one, drive it over here and dump some gas, maybe even 3 cars? How does that sound? Probably cop cars. How does that sound? A utility vehicle that we pay for so that they can perform this hoax on us. Doesn't that sound a little bit more likely? Bunch of burnt stuff, you know? Because is it more likely that this came from a plane? Or is this more likely that someone burnt this stuff? Or that it was in a real fire? Some of these definitely don't make sense. It's true. This doesn't make sense. I agree. But then again, wouldn't it also make sense if this was a coven and they all wanted to collect insurance money and these guys had nothing to do with it? And, the coven is involved with the police, because of the pentagrams that the cops wear. Not the police, I guess the sheriffs wear the pentagrams. So take that for whatever that means. I mean, just what makes more sense to you? That that these people were actually in on something? Once you evacuate people, it's easy, right? So you can create some smoke, and then you can evacuate people, and then you can go in. Nobody's home. You got to realize when nobody's home, you can, look at this. They probably sprayed some gas on this thing with a sprayer, with a county sprayer for weeds. It's probably what happened here, just to trip people up. But nobody was around. Whenever there's smoke, they are able to clear everybody out. That's why it's so important that you listen to your cell phone when a message comes across warning you of something, because they're about to hoax something. They're doing something. So some people are collecting insurance money out of this. You realize that. These are probably declared national emergencies, so the county is probably getting a bunch of money for it. And then the insurance company is forced. Basically, we have to pay these guys that hoax us every single time they do it. So what's the motive in hoaxing us? Obviously, every single time they do it. Now, do they necessarily want to build a new park? Waste of time burning down this park? These homes are cheap, and they were built by cheap labor. You know, these guys, the people that are going to be rebuilding these homes, are going to be eating hot dogs for lunch. Seriously, hot dogs for lunch, and lots of them are going to be in multifamily homes. So these are the people that are going to have to rebuild this. It's not going to cost anything. It's going to be pennies on the dollar. You know, they'll be $2 million homes, of course. Insurance is going to pay it all off, and then they're going to get to rebuild the way they want. Instead of their old spec homes, they're going to be able to probably sell that land and go move out into the country. So is this strange? It's hard to say. Fire is uncontrollable when you don't have big crews. So if you were to say set up this, things could get out of control, burn down the whole place. Do you see any proof, though? Put it in the comments down below. Because this guy's saying that he's got proof. That this is directed energy. This is proof of a fire. And it's not more than that. It's just proof of a fire. There's a clean street here. Who knows? A street sweeper may have actually come through since the fire, though. They've obviously got to clean up afterwards. They don't want it blowing all around. So is this weird? Yeah, I guess. We make everything out of aluminum now. So yeah, that would be weird if you saw a car melted 50 years ago. But nowadays, is it really that weird? The engine blocks are aluminum. So if there's aluminum burns in your campfire. So if they get this thing going with some gas, yeah, you can melt aluminum. And I'm sure they have the good stuff. This is a 9/11 building 6. I didn't even know about that. It wasn't struck by anything, but the center of the building was completely hollowed out and the exterior walls did not collapse. Where did all the debris go? Inside of the building, it turned into dust. There were no steel beams or concrete rubble. All right, so the claim is the Judy Wood one again. And this being a steel I-beam, yeah, that's crazy. But then again, do we even know that this is building World Trade Center complex? These are just pictures, and we can't be, that's what the flat Earth movement is about, is that pictures aren't evidence of anything. They could be hoaxed, they can be staged. Somebody took this picture on purpose, you know? Probably one of these guys. If you've got trust for them, then that's your deal. That's, this is, Ohio. I don't see directed energy in this. I see a bunch of rust. That looks just terrible. And it doesn't even look thick to me. Look at this. Paper thin, rusted out. Nonsense. But maybe burnt out. I don't know. I don't go around burning steel too often, but it's never more likely space lasers or plane lasers, excuse me. It's always more likely that some dumbass just walked up with a gallon of gas or, whatever type of equipment they're using, dumped some accelerant and then sent in their request to the insurance company. And since there's people in the insurance companies that work with these guys, it's no problem. So whatever coven is perpetrating the hoax is the one that's getting paid. That's how I see it. If anybody has information on the people's homes that got spot hit, then maybe, look into that. That would be a point of interest. It'd be worthy of investigation. Who are these people? Do they belong to a coven? Are they government employees? You always got to watch for that because a government employee does not want it. They don't want to work. That's the whole point. Collect a paycheck, get a pension, don't work. Avoid work at all costs. So that's why they went into government. So put your comments below. If there's something that I missed, hey, I'd love to change my mind. I'm totally open-minded to it, except for the problem is that it's just a bunch of photos after the fact, and that doesn't tell you what happened at the scene. It just tells you what you're supposed to see. Somebody had a helicopter or a drone and was allowed access to this area. So, take that for whatever it is. Might have been a person. Maybe this guy got his house burned down, wasn't a part of it. So he's trying to figure out what's going on. But the least likely, we have to look at this rationally. Occam's razor. Is it more likely that we're on a spinning ball flying through a vacuum? Obviously not. Okay, great. It worked good in that instance. Is it more likely that atoms exist when we don't ever get to see them? No, of course not. Okay, seems to have worked out on that point. Now, how about airplane lasers? We haven't seen them. Granted, we haven't seen a lot of things, but these guys are idiots. Just remember that. They're, they're idiots. They're not good at stuff. They're good at faking things. They're good at putting a picture together for you to trip out on. They've been doing it for years. So, I mean, hopefully, Ron Sheckelson, maybe you'll get my message and let me know how I'm wrong. That would be perfectly great. I'll definitely issue a correction.